What is up? Happy Friday. Welcome to version 0.6 of 8-Bits. After a small, show vacation, here we are. We are back. My name is djWHEAT, joined as always by itmeJP. And what is up, man? I missed being off for, the show.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's nice to be back.
Yeah. Finally, it seems like video games are back, man. They're coming out. There's news. There's streams today for the Elder Scrolls Online gameplay, which I'll be watching because I think that's going to be going on as well. And right when the show goes offline around 2 o'clock, there's going to be EverQuest Next, the big reveal. Which
people are saying, we're going to redefine fucking, MMOs. And
yeah.
Although that claim's been made before, I'm excited because.
Do you know? Have you seen what it is behind the scenes? Has anyone filled you in?
No.
Okay.
I've
been filled in, and I'm pretty fucking excited for it.
Really. So
it looks sick.
Oh, you've seen?
Yeah, I've seen a couple things. So it 2 p.m. Pacific. You should definitely check out the SOE stream. I think it's going to be very interesting to see how people react to that.
Okay.
So,
well,
I'm excited for it, but I'm a huge MMO guy, so that's probably why.
Yeah, and you've been searching for the MMO. In fact, that just takes us right into pretty much into our first bit, which is, of course, what the hell are we playing or now playing or whatever the hell you wanna call it. I don't think it matters. So now playing, JP, you have infinitely more games on your list than I do have on mine.
I realized this week that I play a lot of different games that I don't even remember for each show, so I don't even know where to start. I guess most recently last night at 5 a.m. or something, I finally beat Rogue Legacy, so I'm done with that. I can put it down.
Good job.
I don't have to touch it anymore.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I kind of cheesed the last boss because you can play as one of the classes in the game is the Barbarian. So I had 950 HP or something crazy like that, and typically only have 300 to 500. So I just kind of tanked the boss, and it wasn't really that skillful.
Well.
I just spammed attack on him, but maybe that's skillful in its own right. I don't know. But Rogue Legacy is a great game. If you haven't played it, you can check out the JPOV of it. I highly enjoyed it. I probably won't go back and play New Game Plus just because I don't enjoy doing that with a lot of games. I'm on to the next one already. I don't know what the next one is because I'm always in the search of a new game. But Rogue Legacy was good. I enjoyed it. What did you play any games while you were gone on your break?
Yeah, I still got we also had a little bit of time since the last show where I've played a few games, but played a few. For me, of course, I did finish itmeJP. So I don't think we ever got a chance to say that between last show because I said I was going to play it, and then we had a week off, and so I went through the whole thing, suffered several moments of pure insanity, JP, where I was just kind of WTF? What? There's this moment early on in my playthrough, JP, where there's all this ambient forest noise. You start hearing this cricket, and then sort of this low.
Yeah, that drove me crazy, man.
And I just stopped in the middle hallway, and I'm I kind of just feel like maybe the end of the game is right here. I'm just gonna sit here and I give this speech about what I'm thinking at that exact moment, and I think it kind of defined the entire itmeJP experience for me. So I'm posting it on the YouTube, and it's almost all the way up, but I really liked it. I really, I love Portal and the way it invoked that feeling of God damn it, I'm clever. Well, this game did that, but it also made you feel fucking dumb too, like dumb as shit. But I think that made the reward for being clever even more substantial. So I liked itmeJP, played that, and then just real quickly, Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army it's gotten
You know?
shitty scores on Metacritic, JP. Like, I mean, people are
Is
like,
that the tablet equivalent of Sniper Elite Nazi Zombie Army, or did you play the PC
the
version of it?
PC version, man.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's
I've actually seen like a good hour or two of. I don't know who I was watching stream, but it looks kind of all right for
guess
like
what?
a fun game.
It's you know, it's garbage, but it's good old garbage. It's
Right.
fucking rolling up to the McDonald's drive-through and being like, "Give me one of everything, baby," and then just enjoying the shit out of it. It is like pain. It has some painful shit, JP. Like animations are unforgiving. The moment you're doing
Right.
something that isn't just shooting a gun, like you're doing it for 5 minutes and there's no way to stop it. So it's like whether it's a reload or a big gun, or whether it's like putting down a mine or throwing a grenade, it's just like it's a real clunky. But you kick the shit out of zombies, you blow up and pop a lot of heads. And
That's a good way. At least my like I said, I never played it, but I did watch a good chunk of it. It has a good sense of like making you feel like a badass. Would you say that that's accurate?
Exactly. Okay. But then if you put it like, I finally bumped up to the tough difficulty because I the first stage is just like, I was like, this is too easy, man. Like, if I really want to enjoy this, I want a challenge. But then these huge zombies come out and they just kick your ass. So it's given me a challenge, but it's a lot of fun. It was definitely, it might be up there as one of the best Steam sales purchases.
Oh, you picked it up on the summer sale?
Yeah.
Was it like $1 or something?
Probably.
That's good.
They
That's
might
good
have been.
purchase.
They might have been giving you money to download it. I don't know, but it's totally worth it. So
to fall back on Antechamber, I have a question for you, and that question is: should I go back and finish this game? A game that
Can you tell me how far you made it?
I had the first two guns.
So you had the green gun. You had the blue and the green gun.
The blue and the green. Yeah, I think that's right.
And I can probably guess where you just stopped.
I stopped when
the fuse.
I remember it might have been that. I remember entering a room and there were like 2 or 3 boxes on the ground, and it was inside of a cube, and the boxes couldn't be moved outside the cube, but they could be moved around. And on like each edge of the room, there was spaces that you could jump into or some shit like that. But you had to like move the boxes inside. And
oh, right.
I just got real frustrated with that game, man. And I think like the other thing that drove me insane was, like you were saying, like the ambiance that is brought upon in that game. I don't know if I was playing it in like a bad state of mind, or if it was really late in the night and I was kind of like creeped out or what.
It does everything.
It got to me, man.
Yeah, it does everything to dig into your psyche, from like the whiteness of it and how they like will change it on you, and then how everything is very deceiving, to the sounds that are made, to the point where it like trained my brain at certain times to be angry when I heard sounds, because I knew I wasn't supposed to be there, so like when I heard that sound, I was like, oh God, I'm there again. But the way I see Antechamber is kind of like have you beat Dark Souls? You kind of have a fucking Medal of Honor on your chest if you have,
Right.
Yeah. Or Demon Souls, yeah. So Antechamber, I kind of feel like has that same thing. Like, I'm like, yeah, I beat that shit. It fucking drove me a little crazy, but yeah, I kicked the shit out of it. So
maybe I'll just get drunk and play that game, but I'll probably just like start throwing up on air from how crazy it was. Yeah, Antechamber was.
And I had to play it without chat. Like someone mentioned that it was like super backseat gaming, and like
that was one of the
ruins
things
the experience. So
that might have been what ruined the experience for me, because like when you're playing I think just puzzle games in general are really probably the hardest games to stream, because for one, the second you look at chat, you're probably going to be spoiled. Two, the second you look at chat, you're going to see someone being like, oh my God, how is this guy so stupid? And then you're immediately tilted because like people are judging your intelligence on something that you're like so engrossed in.
Yeah,
and so that's probably why I didn't enjoy it all that much.
I understand. I totally understand.
There might be somewhat of that element that I never really thought of.
It is a good personal gaming experience, but it definitely is a difficult one to share in that environment. Yeah, but I do think you should go for it. You know,
Yeah, maybe I'll go back and play it.
definitely a sense of like, fuck yeah, man, I did it. I done
Well,
it.
some of the other games this week, Castle Storm finally came out for the PC. It was out on Xbox Live Arcade towards the end of May, like May
Yeah,
29th is when it came out. So,
tell me about it.
do you know what Castle Storm is?
No, I kind of looked at it just a little bit when I saw it on the. I'm gonna bring it up right now for
Okay,
folks. When
so
I saw it on the document.
Castle Storm's not. And I put up a JPOV of it, and it was kind of interesting because it was the first one where it was the first JPOV where I was kind of negative on a game, and hopefully I got enough points across like why. It's not a bad game by any means. Like it's not. There aren't any glaring problems with the game. It doesn't have like bad lag. It's not bad gameplay. It's just. It seems like mediocre across the board, at least for my experience of it. So. What it actually is if you took Angry Birds, you mixed in some RTS elements like unit and resource management, and maybe a little bit of tower defense in there, and then
You have
you
castles.
played against the AI, and it was very easy and very calm, and that's Castle Storm. And then you play against the multiplayer where it's like figured out. Like there's a build that you're supposed to do in multiplayer. Like the number one guy on the ladder wheat. I checked on. Let's see, when did I stream that game? I think it was Wednesday. I checked on Wednesday, and he was 101-4 win-loss ratio, right? And then when I went back to do the JPOV of it yesterday, he was like 260-7. So like he had lost 3 matches. So like he's like and all of the matches are like that. And when you even get into the multiplayer aspect at level 1, when you queue up immediately, everyone's castle looks the exact same, right? Because one of the things in the game is that you can edit your castle. You're able to have that customization of placing the buildings that allow you to build whatever units you want in each round.
It's got a little. I loved Rampart.
Right.
From like that multiplayer perspective, because it was just kind of like Tetris, and then you blew the shit out of each other's, castles. And
Yeah.
I always thought that maybe this was going to have a little bit of a Rampart feel, but it almost sounds like based off of, what you can build, like you said, there's an optimal way. Whereas like
Right.
that was more like how skillful are you just putting down pieces that, that
Right.
require different depth and blocks, etc.
Yeah. And the other thing about the game too is like one of the main things in the game is that you can spawn units, right? There's 2 ways to win each match. You can either destroy your opponent's castle, or you can get their flag and run it back to your castle, which involves spawning units that have to walk over to their base, pick the flag up, and then bring it back to yours. And you can shoot their units as they spawn, and if you get a kill streak of 5, 10, 15, 20, etc., then you are able to go into frenzy mode, which allows you to like just fucking shoot as many things as you can click as fast as possible, right? Which is incredibly good to do, but no one's ever going to spawn units unless they're this giant golem that has a fuck ton of HP. And so, like, that's the only unit that's ever spawned.
I see.
So it's like figured out where you can either focus purely on their building and try to take that out as fast as possible and chip away with it, do whatever. There's certain things you can do to get it down faster, or you can knock their door down and spawn these golems every 30, 45 seconds and keep impeding kind of on their castle, eventually getting the flag and walking it back. So the game just, it screamed like mediocre. It screamed like...
It sounds like a great concept that just sort of...
Yeah. It's not, like I said, it's not a bad game. Like, I think I genuinely enjoyed the time with it, which was probably the 5 to 6 hours that I played it. And I got like 55% through the multiplayer. Apparently, there's already DLC out for it, like today or yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that there was...
That continues the campaign.
Yeah, the expansion.
And adds a new race to it. There's 2 factions currently. I think the multiplayer, or the DLC adds a new one, but...
Do you wish the multiplayer was better? Like, is it one of those?
No, I don't. Because I think it's like the core gameplay element is using your ballista to shoot things across the map, but it's literally holding down left click, and it shoots. And then you can use like 1 through 5, at least on the PC, to kind of select your whatever you're shooting, and they have different cooldowns. One is just your general javelin, and then you can choose whatever your other 4 are, which is part of I guess part of the game is like choosing which ones you want. But it's just it wasn't like I hate to like pull out the stupid review words, but it like wasn't a compelling experience. I had Castle Storm figured out from a gameplay element, like 30 seconds worth of playing it, like hold down left click. And then like there were little other elements like, oh, I can spawn this unit, but it really doesn't do all that much, at least against players. And I don't know. For like, I guess my full thoughts on it, you can go watch the JPOV, but like it's only $10 too, which is what I kept arguing with in my head. Like, it's not an expensive game. They're not asking $20 for this, right? They're asking for $10, which is not a huge commitment.
No.
And it's not a game that you're supposed to play for hours upon hours, right? So maybe I got what I was supposed to get out of it, the 3 to 5 hours.
I don't know what other people in chat are saying, but you have probably prevented me from spending the money. So I'll just say thank you for that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So the only other thing I have, because you're going to mention this other one, and I haven't played it yet,
Sure.
but the Humble Bundle this week is the King's Bounty games, which I accidentally found out about these games. Like, so what happened was, you know, I'm like a little mobile crazy sometimes, and I'll play some games that people would probably be really shocked that I would play. And one of these was this like free-to-play King's Bounty game that, you know, did have a pay-to-win component of it, but I had just as much fun like just playing it. It's a strategic game where you basically have units that represent everything from mages to knights to different different, you know, beasts that you can have, and it's all grid-based. So kind of like a tactics, like a tactics type game. So one day I was showing it to Forrest. I was like, God, Forrest, you know, I know you don't play that many free-to-play games, but like on the iPad, this one's pretty sweet. And he goes, well, that's King's Bounty. I'm like, oh shit, you've played it before? Like, that's awesome. He's like, no, like those games come from Steam. There's like 12 of them. And I was like, oh my God, there's 12 of these games, because the actual games aren't free-to-play, pay-to-win model, so you build up and you become a super powerful strategic army, and it's better than the one that I was playing, because that one's basically, it wants you to pay $50 to get new units. So anyway, for the Humble Bundle, it's not that much. The weekly Humble, this is for the weekly one, by the way. Let me find it. Let's see. Humble.
I'm looking at it right now.
It's
Are you
the
looking
ones,
at the game list, or?
Yeah. Here, I got it up.
There's King's Bounty, Men of War, King's Bounty, Men of War, Men of
Yeah,
War.
so King's Bounty, the Legend, is like 3 games where you play 3 of the different main characters. And then King's Bounty Crossworlds and Armor Princess are like the same gal that are 2 different stories. I've never played the Men of War before.
Yeah.
So
Is that just like a Call of Duty clone?
No, I think it's actually some
it's
sort
like an
of
RTS.
It's some sort of like RTS strategy type game. But, you know, for people who like to find these deals where they can get games for a pretty cheap amount and get a lot of playtime out of the game, if you're a strategy individual, the King's Bounty games are actually quite good. So go for them, you know.
Yeah, it kind of resembles a little bit of Company of Heroes to me. But maybe
the
that's
Men of
just
War
like,
games?
Yeah.
Like I said, I have never played any of them, and maybe I'll check them out. You know, I mean, I bought them. I should, but really, I just wanted all the King Bounty games because I had one of them that was under the Legend that I'd played. So 6 days.
That's
left.
crazy. This thing's already sold 40,000 copies.
Yeah.
And it's on sale for another 6 days. Like, that's crazy to me. That's crazy. I guess a lot of people like cheap stuff, is what you can deduce from that. Yeah, I don't know. I've never been a big Humble Bundle guy. I haven't purchased any of those before, and it's probably because I typically buy any game that I want like the day of that it comes out, because I get myself all hyped up for it. So maybe that's why. And I'm not a big fan of like buying cheap games, because I know I'm just not going to play them. A lot of people like gift me games on Steam, and I'm just like, I have to decline this. Like, I'll never play this random indie game that looks mildly interesting because
Right.
I'm not interested
I
in it.
understand. It's okay, JP. I won't
It's okay.
feel. I don't feel bad that you don't get it. Someone out there is going to be excited because they maybe have played them before or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's what.
The humble
Fuck
the,
you, JP.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Humble Bundle's a fucking awesome thing. I think that's a great thing that exists. I'm not
King's
shitting on that
Bounty is good, man. All right.
I'm not shitting on that at all. The game that I think that you were referencing that you still have to play is Shadowrun Returns.
Yes. Yes.
I'm still kind of. So I'll just say that I haven't played it all since I recorded the little footage of it that I have up on the channel, and I think that might be that it's like that game is so story focused. Like I'd say like a 60-40, maybe even a 70-30 split story to gameplay.
Wow,
I've heard that
70-30. I expected 60-40, but here you say 70-30.
I've heard that I mean that's definitely the first 2 or 3 hours where they're explaining the story too. I've heard that later on in the game it definitely opens up into more combat. And I would say that the combat's not the most interesting part of that game. Is probably the best kind of estimation of that. The story is so well done, and you know, being like a huge D&D guy now and enjoying that extra amount of like description that you get and stuff, and then allowing your brain to like make that up in your head.
Right. Yeah.
Shadowrun does a really good, awesome way of when they introduce a new character to you, there is a solid paragraph of just raw description of what this guy actually does and what his mannerisms are and what kind of demeanor he has on him and what type of personality he looks like. And I love that shit. I think that's great. But it's almost like I'm reading a book when I play that game because of how much there is, and there's dialogue choices, and as far as I could tell, like some of the dialogue choices, I got extra stuff like more karma points, which is the basically the XP in the game. So you get karma points, and you're able to use those and put them in whatever specialty you want, and that's kind of how you level up. And you get those for doing different dialogue stuff. So it's kind of D&D-ish where you are rewarded for role playing in a sense. You can't really not role play in that game, but for getting extra things from people, you're rewarded for that. But I don't know. I'll probably eventually go back and play it, but it is not the page turner that I was expecting.
Okay.
It's not a big game, at least on my radar anymore. And I would say I was like pretty moderately hyped for it.
Well, and see, here's the other thing too, is that I never throughout the whole thing and throughout the creation process and whatever, I actually don't necessarily believe that it's a very good PC game. Like, I think that it's actually going to be better on tablet just because
and it probably will
of
be,
the way I can consume it and, like, sort of that style of gameplay. You know, it just, because actually the game you're describing even is the game that I'd want to play on the iPad. You know, that's where I read a lot of digital comics and consume a lot of like media. A lot of games you do play are very interactive in that regard. So it'll be interesting to see if my thoughts on the game are different because I'm still waiting for the tablet version before.
You're gonna wait.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
The big issue, and I think the most talked about issue with that game is the save system, where it saves kind of each new area that you enter is the only save you get. There's no manual saving in the game, and it's kind of annoying because you can go through.
See, and that'll probably be different on the tablet too.
Oh, it'll probably be real. It has
because
to
I
be
could
different. There's no way.
could put an app to sleep. You know.
Right. There's no way if they don't change the save system for the tablet, then it's like you're going to start an area and be stuck to that area for at least an hour.
Right.
And that might have been why they delayed it. I don't know if they came out and said what the main reasons were. But the save system's probably the biggest complaint that a lot of people are having with it because there are moments where you'll do like 20, 30 minutes of dialogue and the game apparently ramps up in difficulty, so the first time you see a fight, you're probably not going to beat it. I mean, that's just how those games are. You kind of have to learn how it goes. And that seems to be what a lot of people are having issues with. But
I can't wait to find out
I thought it was
I thought
interesting
so.
because there was an interview on Gamasutra about it, and they were talking about the fact that the big story behind this game, and I think maybe the reason why it was on so many people's radar is that it was one of the first kickstarted games to get fully funded. Now it's out, right? We're starting to see this wave of kind of Gen 1 Kickstarter games come
Right.
out. And the developers said that 35% of the Kickstarter money, I believe it raised, how much did it get? I want to say
Like a
like
million, like what?
almost
Here, I've got it
2,
up right here. Yeah,
I think
almost
almost 2
two.
million, 1.9.
1.8. 1.8.
Yeah, I think it was like 1.85 or some shit like that. But 35% of the Kickstarter money went to fees, licensing, and physical rewards. So this was released on Microsoft Xbox Live Arcade, which I'm sure were a lot of money. Amazon's
Right.
share, apparently, I don't know where that came from, but they had to pay the Kickstarter and Amazon share. And the production cost of all the physical rewards, books, T-shirts, boxes, dog tags, etc. The cost of picking, packing, and shipping all of those rewards. So 35% of that was not even really involved in making the game.
That shit's crazy. I mean, it's wild to think about it in that.
I think it's pretty, like, this is why I think the Kickstarter thing is so cool, because companies can kind of be this open about this stuff, right? And it kind of gives a window into
Yeah.
the cost of game development that a lot of people don't realize. Because I didn't realize it was going to cost 35% of the actual full funding that it got. So
Well, it's even more interesting that scales based off of how popular your Kickstarter is.
that's true.
You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
if you have a really successful Kickstarter, then some of those, it might seem like some of those costs increase, but I would guess it's the middle of the road Kickstarters that have the biggest problem because, right, like if you're going to make dog tags, for example, to
right,
produce 100,000 of them will actually be less than producing, 1,000, like the cost overall.
right,
So, that whole concept. I'm glad that it wasn't like this was a negative thing and it was like, well, we could have done better, but 35% had to go to this. It's nice that it is a celebration that the game came out. It has some success, a lot of hype, and at least talk about it, whether or not the game is actually good or not. It's
right.
it's positive for the whole Kickstarter thing, and I think we've actually got another item coming up a little bit later that is also about Kickstarter and sort of how it's helping out some other companies. So, do you have any other what now plans?
I messed around. So remember when I was on this huge free-to-play kick? Like I think it was last
Yes.
episode. I finally like Neverwinter, the Dungeons and Dragons MMO that came. I guess it's an MMO. For free-to-play that came out. Like it's not bad. I was actually kind of surprised by it. It's definitely got a routine to it where go here, come back here, do this quest, go back there. But the cool thing about it is the Foundry, which is like the player-made quest. And the game does a really good job of like promoting these within the game, and some of these things are like better than any of the quests that the devs made.
I've
Dude,
heard that. Yeah.
they're like real fucking involved. Like one of the first ones I did, you go inside of this castle or this house basically, and there's like a bunch of these creatures, like high-level monsters that are friendly NPCs, and they're playing a game of basically Dungeons and Dragons within the game. So they're like sitting around a table and like rolling die, and then like it what it does is it kind of plays on that, and you're like thrust into these situations as the player character of what's happening in their D&D game, and you're like going around the house like solving all these cute clues and like figuring out that blah 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 blah, and then at the very end of it, you basically have to kill your character to complete the quest. Like
Nice.
that's the end of it. So I thought it was really cool. I'm definitely surprised by that. I'm not playing it too much, but it's definitely it's interesting. And I think that a lot of people are playing it because of that. I think that's why people are sticking around. Um, I played a little bit of Guns of Icarus. Have you touched that at all?
Yeah, I played a little bit with Mini Wheat like when it first came out. What are your thoughts on it though?
So I played with Ryan Moore, Imagine, and Wind. Imagine and Wind are actually like the two casters for it apparently, and they're pretty involved within the game. Apparently, each week there's like tournaments for this on the weekends. So it's a pretty tight knit community, but they're definitely, at least compared to me and Ryan, they were experts in the game. And it seems cool. I think it's the type of game where if you have 3 friends and you want to sit down and like play a co-op experience that has a multiplayer aspect to it, like that's a fun time. That's a really good game for that. But if you're just like a single guy going into a single guy, if you're a single person going into it and you're just trying to dive into it, you're probably not going to have all that much fun because it is very, very heavy on like interacting with your crewmates and getting stuff done that they are communicating to you. And if you're not communicating in that game, I think you're just going to have a bad time. But it's a really cool idea. I think it's a really awesome idea. Like, we were trying to, someone was asking like what that game is or what's a game that they can compare it to, and it's kind of in a field of its own, man.
Yeah.
No one's got like another Guns of Icarus game. There's nothing that really matches it.
Yeah. I mean, Mini Wheat played this more than I did.
Yeah.
And you know, for
Which
me, it was
probably
more like
hilarious because his team was like, "What are you doing?"
actually, you know, believe it or not, like probably having a kid like Mini Wheat's perfect because he'll go around and repair shit. So you know, like
Okay.
he would very much realize that well, our boat or ship, whatever, doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
If you know this is broke, so he's always in those situations a good teammate because he'll just be the. It's like I don't care if I'm killing stuff, like you know, oh
God.
no, it's on fire, like fix it. But that's that. You know, I guess if you like to play engineer, then Guns of Icarus is like your game. But
Yeah, engineer definitely
right?
a running around race that has
Yeah.
a pretty big role.
I'd be
You gotta-
curious to watch one of their tournaments.
Yeah, I want to see kind of like what the and we played against like a full-on clan.
They got one on Saturday.
Yeah.
Top teams facing off in a battle royale that'll be the hottest Spire on Spire action this side of the
Nice.
Ford Barones.
Nice.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So other than that, I've kind of been waiting. This next week, there's finally like not AAA games, but like big games coming out. Pikmin comes out on Sunday.
Yep.
Definitely gonna be picking that up. Pikmin 3. Finally, I can dust off the Wii U. Do you know I haven't played a Wii U game since the week it came out?
Good job, man. Congratulations.
Like that was a worthy purchase. Not like I
I knew
haven't
that
played
one
the
was
Wii
coming,
U.
man. I knew that
Yeah,
one was
yeah.
coming. But
Tales of Xillia comes out next week on the PS3. Really excited for that, as well as Dragon's Dogma, which I think we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yep.
So finally, some video games. August is going to be a great month, man. We got a lot of good games coming
it
out.
is. It's gonna be good.
The
And
20th
you know what?
has like 4 or 5 games.
We're gonna before we know it, we're gonna be on the new consoles. Like it's creeping
I'm
up
fucking ready,
quick,
man.
It's creeping.
so ready.
It's creeping. It really is.
so
All right, time to move on to our second bit and just what a crazy sort of story and week and I mean in general that this one particular bit and story has brought to the table. So, I mean, I guess the easiest way to explain it is Phil Fish canceled Fez 2 because he
Right.
gets pissed off at some folks that say some stuff and some of the
That's like the
treatment.
news aspect of this, right?
Right.
That's the only thing that is probably worth reporting on it. But I think what the social commentary of all of this is why it's so interesting and why so many people have just like jumped into it. You know?
Right. So, basically and I guess everyone in this room, everyone who's ever like watched a Twitch channel or has experienced some trolling themselves, like, you know, sort of that like public trolliness that can happen. And here's a guy who just basically was like threw his arms up in the air, and was like, "Fuck it," you know, like I'm not,
Right.
you know, I'm not gonna do it. So, like you said, that's the one half of the story. The other side of the story is, how the gaming industry responded. Individuals like Cliffy B coming out and saying, you owe it to the community to finish this and don't listen to those guys, like offering reinforcement, but at the same time being like, don't be stupid. You've got other folks like Giant Bomb that really was like, it is drama, right? Like, not necessarily something that we need to focus on. We have an interesting perspective on it because this kind of like negative outcry from the community, which is very loud,
Right.
is very prevalent in competitive gaming, which you and I have both been involved with heavily. So it's just kind of to me, it's kind of amazing. I was thinking about this a lot, JP, And I was like, you know, is there any other profession where, you know, aside from like obviously if you're a movie star, like the paparazzi sort of exist as these always in your face, like they will be your biggest critic and sometimes always the loudest. But you know, the best parallel I think I was able to think of was actually a stand-up comic. Right? Like I believe that a stand-up comic represents in a lot of cases very similar sphere to how the internet can work. Because a stand-up comic has a large audience in front of them, and they you know they're delivering their material, they're entertaining, they're having a show, but there's actually an audience that's capable of heckling, whether this is, you know, to be funny themselves or whether to be malicious. But
Right.
you know, like it's part of comedy, but you don't go to a comedy show and hear 50 people in the show just heckling a comic, right? But the other interesting thing is that a comic can't close their ears, right? In some cases, we can choose not to read. You can just not, you know, not see something, or someone writes an article, you just don't read it. But like a comic cannot stop from hearing something that is yelled from the, you know, yelled from an audience. In that same aspect, JP, if you have something on Twitter and someone's so easily accessible, you kind of you read it in a similar way as a comic. Like some of this comes in and you can't filter it until you've actually your eyes have seen it itself. So there's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
this like delicate balance. But I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I still feel like in some cases people would stop and go, you know, do those comments even need to be made in the first place? Like, I still feel like it sucks that it's still okay in a lot of cases to just be that fucking dick face on the internet. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
And today we're going to talk about, it's interesting because today we're going to talk about the Xbox One reputation system, which also kind of falls in line with this, and you know what the media said about you just have to ignore it. You know, it's the 99% that you're making happy, and fuck the 1% that's being a bunch of bitches, which I really believe in that philosophy.
Yeah.
But
It's very hard to do though.
it's hard to do. So, you know, first and foremost, this is like the first time we've ever seen this happen in sort of the video game world. What's your like overall thoughts on it? Just the fact that boom, game. Psh.
I think that Fez 2 will eventually be a game and finally come out, but to speak to like Fish's situation specifically, like he is described. I've never met the guy, but I've seen a lot of stuff and read a lot of stuff about him, and definitely read his tweets and followed him that way. But he is probably like one of the most passionate guys when it comes to that. So when you're insulting what he does, he's not gonna like. He doesn't answer to anyone, right? So he doesn't have to worry about a
Right.
publisher or anyone coming down on him. Like he's gonna say like fuck you if he wants to say like fuck you. And to that I kind of actually, you made some similarities to kind of esports and how we do have like that very loud community where they can
Yeah.
have a huge presence in that. And I mean I've definitely like blown a gasket before like that. I've gotten really upset at people
Me
before. I think
too.
everyone has.
Guilty as charged.
Yeah, yeah.
I
and-
would
and
never go, I'm canceling every show. You know,
Right,
like I
right,
mean,
right.
I'm sure I've felt like that fiery
Oh, yeah.
before, but I would
But-
never, you know, and that's the thing that's the craziest about it is like it partially is the reaction.
Right.
But go
And-
ahead, you're saying.
Well, I was just like, I don't actually. A lot of people, and I found this very interesting too, because like my brother and me, we always talk about these types of things, and obviously it was a huge topic everywhere. But everyone that's ever created something on the internet or anywhere, like whether it's anything that you can get feedback on, and I would think that pretty much everyone in life has had something like that, right? You immediately react pretty emotionally to any like non-constructive feedback that is
Right.
negative.
It's human nature.
And if you
Yeah.
haven't, like, it's so hard to understand where he's coming from. But I can't even imagine, like, so we do shows and stuff like that, and for the most part, it like goes one ear and out the other. Like we can kind of live with having a bad something, right? But to be devoted to something like that for 3 to 4 years and like have your life be this game, and then to have some of these comments, which sure his personality definitely baits a lot of it. Like people are basically going at him because they know they're going to get a response, but I can't even imagine what that's got to feel like if someone just like shits all over you and it's your life. It's like 4 or 5 years that you've basically just put into this game. And it, obviously the 99%, it's a great game. But there's that 1% that's probably like, this game sucks, I'm going to kill your mother and rape your child or some stupid shit like that. And that's got to be, like, we laugh, but if that's actually something that's happened, like, I don't know if you saw that, the Tumblr of the, did you hear about the Call of Duty dev that, like, changed the stats of the sniper rifle by, like, 0.1% or something, right, on the fire speed and the reload speed? And there's a Tumblr of all these responses to it, and this is the foulest shit I've ever seen. It is like, people like, I'm gonna rape your children. Like racism comments, fucking left and right. Like, holy shit, it's the scum of the fucking earth.
Yeah.
Making comments like this, and this is like every day. So, I do not fault Fish for doing what he did in the slightest. Like, if it helps him, just saying he's getting away, and even if he doesn't come back, like, I totally understand that, right? It's a shitty fucking thing to deal with. Especially on a daily basis. Like, in and out, he probably got that nonstop on his Twitter.
Yeah. And obviously, it probably compounded the moment that, you know, the news hit. And that's kind of the other weird thing is it was such a foreign thing to happen in the gaming industry that it went everywhere. And so you and I both know that just was like throwing gasoline on a small fire and just, you know.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And, you know, a lot of people, I don't know, I haven't seen anyone say this, but it happened at a time in this industry where everyone is like at this crazy fever pitch, just insanity mindset because these new consoles are coming out, right? Everyone wants something to talk about. Everyone's looking for, every day there's like, PS3 uses 4 gigabytes of game. Fucking like 1,000 comments on this on like every site out there in the known universe. So everyone's looking for something to talk about, and you have like this crazy, crazy audience, and then something like this happens. Of course they're gonna like tear this guy apart. Of course they're gonna say that he's an idiot, blah blah blah. Like,
of course,
and that sucks.
On the flip side, you know, people bitch that they want more transparent development, and here's a fucking fantastic reason of why you're never gonna get it. Like it's, you know, and that's kind of the sad thing about it. Anyway, you know, when we open up the phones, I'm sure there's going to be some folks. I know that there's like a camp that's like, why is this even important? And then I understand like why this is impactful. And I still don't. I still feel like I'm like kind of in the middle about it. But you know, unless you have any final comments on it.
Well, I think that the reason that so many people on like podcasts and a lot of people have made, like, no one's really made post about the news, right? They've always just they said like Fez 2 canceled, and they say why. But everyone that does stuff like we do and makes websites and creates things on the internet, whether it's a game, whether it's a show, whether it's blah blah blah, like they all have dealt with this, right? They've all lived what, and maybe not to the same extremes, blah blah blah, but they understand where he's coming from, where like that is rooted in something that we deal with on a daily basis. So that's why I think it was such a big thing, that so many people had so much like passionate things to say about it. And I thought game trailers handled it like really poorly. I don't know if you saw it, but the next day, or maybe the day like 2 or 3 days after, Cliffy B like posted a blog. I think you referenced that, talking about the whole situation, and Game Trailers made a news story talking about Cliffy B's article and like cited and responded to it. It wasn't Bear, the guy that made the initial comments regarding Fish, but it's just like it's not like have some class, but it's just like be nice. I don't know. It just felt really weird for them to like go and do that, to like continue the story. And maybe they were just doing it for hits. Maybe that's like really off base to say. But I didn't agree with how they kind of like sought more drama out.
And we see that again. I feel like, I mean, dare I say it, some of you who are not connected there might not get it, but like it is a little bit of what is happening a lot in that competitive gaming and all the League and Dota and StarCraft communities. It's starting to spill a little bit over into the gaming sector, and it'll be a really interesting ride, especially as the new consoles come out. Because some feelings about to get hurt for real. Like some personal Twitters are going to get attacked, and it's going to be nasty, and people are going to be fucking mean. And so we're about to see like a whole new level of this hit. So anyway, we'll definitely talk probably a little bit more about it. Honestly, JP, we're gonna have to get to the phone lines first. That'll be the let's move on to our third one, which I don't know that we need to spend a ton of time on, but like, god damn it, this keeps happening, and I don't get it anymore, JP. It's the whole concept of just forcing multiplayer. You know, we talk about it every single time where it's like, hey man, yeah, I played this game. Oh, the single player, the story was awesome, cool. Yeah, how's the multiplayer? Hey, fucking didn't play it. You know, didn't care. Have no reason to care. And so, you know, these companies spend all this time and all this money putting together tacked on multiplayer that really works off of, like, I'm sure the game gets released and multiplayer, and then a couple weeks later it's like, and no one's playing it except for like those 10 hardcore guys that are like, I'm going to be at the top of the Batman Arkham City, 3-on-3-on-2 multiplayer list. And the reason I bring this up is because Arkham Origins announced, hey, we're doing multiplayer. And at first it's just kind of like all that shit I just said, like why? And then the next part is, but don't worry, guys, because it's done by splash damage, and so it won't detract away from the real game and blah blah. And I'm like, guess what? That fucking makes it even worse. Because even though I think splash damage can make a good multiplayer game, it's still going to end up being some piece of shit that people are only going to play for a couple of weeks, and it will never have any sort of substantial impact. So, why? Like, I don't get it.
It's definitely a marketing and price point thing. Like, I'm sure that the execs and the people that can make those decisions where it's like, do you want a multiplayer? It's like, yeah, sure. It gives like a reason to continue playing that game. It gives a reason why we can sell DLC in some aspects. I guess you can sell other stuff, especially for a game like Batman. But I agree with you that a lot of times it seems like the multiplayers are always tacked on. But I'm actually, and maybe this is like you were saying, it's going to be cool for a week. It's going to be cool for like 2 or 3 weeks, right? But did you see like what the multiplayer is in the actual game?
But
it
guess
looks cool,
what?
Right?
Yeah, but guess what? It looks cool, and people are only going to still play for fucking 3 weeks. That's.
But is that a bad thing? I mean, if it's another dev.
Yeah, because it's just. Yeah, I don't know. I suppose like the $60 to me either way, like. I'm just having to pay for something that I'll fucking never play. So if not, I mean, no offense, splash damage, but if not having splash damage and not having to pay a whole nother development company to develop some sort of multiplayer thing could mean that I could get a fucking title at a cheaper amount because I only choose to play the single player experience, then yeah, it is bad. I mean, that's not necessarily a realistic scenario, but I guess the point to me is that why do developers continue to make this decision? Call of Duty.
Well, I don't think devs are making that decision. I feel like it's someone.
All right. Well, why are publishers or why are even the executives of development studios who might be making decisions that even the developers don't want to do?
Right.
I do feel like a few companies are starting to figure it out.
Yeah. I honestly feel like for the people making these decisions, right? Like they don't see it as they see it as like a title to be checked off for the year, right? It's just another. It's not like what's the best? It's not like a fully formed game in their mind. It's not a 20 or 30-hour experience, right? It's a simple little blip on their radar to be released that year that they're going to have eventually a sales number tied to. And if that sales number doesn't meet what the cost to make the game was, then that's red. They're in the red on that game, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I would imagine they look at it. And a lot of people, especially younger kids, look at the multiplayer, and if it doesn't have like that Call of Duty experience to it or some version of that, then they probably won't tell their parents to buy that game for them. And sadly, that's like a selling point for a lot of these execs, right?
I mean, I can't choose to know how to get into the minds of every single consumer out there, JP, but
Right.
I have to imagine that there are not that many kids out there who are like, when mom and dad are like, okay, Billy, which game would you like? And that they're like, well, let me examine all of the multiplayer offerings of each of these
Yeah.
and get back to you on that. And I'm sure some of them are in some aspects because it's like, well, Johnny's playing this because he's playing online. So that's
Right.
the case. But then it almost becomes like a group decision, right? Your friends are kind of playing that. And so I don't know. I guess the point I wish I knew what the numbers were of like if Batman, because Batman has been such an amazing title for the last 2 games. If Batman didn't include fucking multiplayer, is it going to sell any less? And because it does include multiplayer, will it sell any
Yeah.
more? I think those numbers are such a drastic unidentifiable blip on the radar that it's not even that it's almost like that's where I think it becomes a negative thing, and that's
Right. And I think maybe the stat that you would or could get eventually, and they'll probably only release this if it's a positive spin on it, but you could look at how many people actually played the multiplayer that purchased the game. Because that's a pretty easily traceable stat, right? Just see how many users logged in over the course of whatever, and you put that next to sales, blah, 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 right? But if that's not a good like turnover, then the company's not going to release that, and I don't think you can. You might be able to get like a very not close to actual number if you look at like if they have a how many people are logged in, and then you look at the sales of the game on a monthly basis, because NPD does release that stuff. But I don't know. I think this is kind of the question. I've been asking this question for a while. I'm trying to think back to some of the other games like Splinter Cell's done this before, and they had some pretty cool takes on multiplayer, but it was like the 2 or 3 weeks where then no one ever plays it again. It's just a dead community when it comes to that multiplayer game. I don't know any other. Metal Gear Solid maybe is a good example of something that's had multiplayer that is a heavy single-player focused game, and it was cool. And then you had like the hardcore people that stuck around and played it for the month, but if you go back and I think servers are actually down for like Metal Gear Solid 4 now, but that game's been out for almost 5 years it seems, so makes sense. But
someone
Mass
mentioned
Effect
Crisis
3.
multiplayer. Yeah.
Mass Effect 3, that's like the perfect example. That game had a multiplayer aspect to it, and it was tied into the single player, and that's how they got people to play it, is because they put like different things in there that would unlock certain things in the single player, right? And it wasn't bad by any means, but it seems weird. And I don't know. I think the questions that you're asking will never have answers to.
And you might be right. And honestly, with the way that the whole people buying online passes and used games, like who knows what will eventually happen.
Yeah.
That's got to be some sort of a driving force behind creating multiplayer or having multiplayer. Can you think of any game, JP, you have played where you sort of bought a single player game and you ended up playing the multiplayer a lot more than you had ever expected to? Or
Oh man,
I mean, because I have a hard time
I
thinking of one that you obviously didn't buy, right? So a game like a game like StarCraft 2 wouldn't count because you played the
Right.
single player, right? But you actually bought it probably to play the multiplayer.
Yeah, nothing comes to mind right away.
It's
That's
hard.
for sure.
Yeah, it's really hard.
I played the Assassin's Creed 2 multiplayer for a little while.
Half-Life, okay. I would agree with Half-Life. Because,
Yeah, that's
I mean,
definitely,
like, Half-Life had sort of a surprising... That was a long-ass time ago, though, guys. And then,
Yeah,
of
it
course,
was, yeah.
that turned into something else, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people saying Brood War, or, well, StarCraft.
Yeah, but that's just like that's a
Again, like,
totally
that
different
was...
time.
Yeah, that was a totally different time. But there you go. Like, there
Yeah.
you go. Fucking proof that it hasn't happened again in, like, fucking 15 years.
It's true. Yeah, I can't think
Yeah,
of anything
Jedi
that
Knight
had,
2.
like,
Jedi Knight 2, oh my god.
that was a
Played
good
the
multiplayer.
fuck out of multiplayer in Jedi Knight 2. That
And
shit
I remember
was sick.
I've been watching this QuakeCon stream. That was like a QuakeCon game. That was like a staple of QuakeCon for me. It was like going and playing the different Star Wars games multiplayer on LAN in a big environment like that. Because it wasn't a game that I played a lot at home. But man, you put me on LAN with that, with like people around me that I can go and like, oh man, that was so awesome when you did this, blah 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 blah. Like that was one of those games. It was
Yeah.
a fun game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any games off the top of my head that I genuinely enjoyed the multiplayer that I bought primarily for the single player. I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe that's the answer.
That is, I think that
That
is the
I
answer.
don't have an answer for you.
I don't know. All right, so I think we're going to take our break, and when we come back, we're going to be jumping on to our fourth bit, and you guys can maybe take a look while we're during break, but it is going to be about the Xbox One reputation system as we kind of go into the whole concept of, well, we've got assholes on the internet, so maybe we just have the assholes regulate themselves. Is this a good idea? I don't know. It sounds like Microsoft's going to give it a shot, but we'll take a short break, and when we come back, more 8-bits version 0.6. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to part 2 of 8-Bits. We're an hour away from EverQuest next. I'm watching the clock count down. I'm actually getting kind of excited. JP, you hyped it up early on, and now look at me here, all giddy to find out if I'm going to kill some rats, and yay. You know,
I'm the worst about that.
What? Hyping it?
Hyping stuff.
No, that's okay. You know, well, JP, let me tell you a little secret about EverQuest.
Yeah.
I fucking hate it.
Really?
Yeah, so EverQuest suffered this really kind of strange death in my eyes.
Really?
Because what happened is that I went from Ultima Online, which is arguably the greatest MMO,
Sure.
to ever grace the zeros and ones of PCs and other devices, and I love that game. Like, I loved it with a passion. And EverQuest came out, and it was sort of like this natural progression, right? I was a little bit, 2 weeks go by. I'm like, these guys are, hey, EverQuest, it's pretty awesome. Like, it's the next big shit. You got to do it, And I played it, and I was like, yo, man, this shit sucks. Like, I can't kill people. I can't
okay.
I can't carve up their bodies, and I can't trick people. There's no, like, social engineering aspect. There's not player housing. Like, what the hell's this shit? All this stuff is And it was just literally like it was a grind. And Ultima's a grind, but it's like a grind with freedom.
Well,
and so it was so fucked up because, like, I know EverQuest is a huge game, and I know why people like that stuff, but literally because Ultima was my first MMO, EverQuest was ruined for me. Now, things are different, right? Because MMOs are MMOs. Right? I've accepted the fact that Ultima is gone. No one will ever be able to duplicate their amazing success, and MMOs are what they are today. So it doesn't mean I'm not looking for what could possibly come, and I do believe that the Sony folks could do it with EverQuest. So there's my confession, and at the same time, why I have some extra excitement about it, because, I've hated this franchise for so long.
Ultima Online did so many things that even today, even the most modern MMOs still don't have, right? Like, it was so far ahead of its time for the things that it incorporated into the game.
Dude,
Player housing, we never saw that
player housing.
until
Dude,
like
JP, think about
almost
this.
10 years later, right?
Like late 90s, everyone looked fucking different. Everyone actually looked like you could recognize people before their name popped up because they were the guys that always wore gray robes with the fucking spell book and a red hat. That shit, like, why does nowadays it's like, well, sure, people might look different, but it's because I've grinded to get these fucking massive, big ass wings on my shoulders. But then eventually everyone has these fucking massive big wings on their shoulders that play that class. There was just something
and that also
so
might
amazing.
be the scale. I mean, I don't know what like UO topped at in terms of people online and what at any given time, but it also might just be the scale of games is like so much bigger than it was back then, right? Like, how many people were logged into a UO server at any given time? Do you know? Was it even in the thousands?
Oh, yeah, it was in the thousands, dude. Yeah, every shard had thousands. Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I mean, you play like an MMO, and I'm sure like each server probably has. I don't think they go into the 100,000s, but they definitely go into like the tens of thousands different characters. And when it gets to that, like, you're definitely going to see repeats. But I think like your Ultima Online, to make like a comparison, is my like Dark Age, right? Dark Age of Camelot did so many things that were similar to that whenever I play like a new MMO, it's like I want like player housing in Dark Age, albeit a little bit different than UO, was like it was fucking incredible. And this was in a time before the auction house was a staple of MMOs, and you sold things at your house broker, right?
Yes.
And so
you actually bought vendors and stuff.
And it was awesome because part of the fun, was going to like the main centralized thing, searching for the item that you want, and then instead of just saying buy now, you have to go to this person's house.
Yes.
In the zone that you have to like take a horse to get to, and like all this crazy shit. And then on the flip side, it's like you log out for the day and you post a bunch of stuff on your house, and then the next day you'll wake up with like a shit ton of gold in your house. And that was awesome. And there were like things where if you kill a mob, then you get like a trophy of like the fucking dragon's head. And you can put that outside and like upgrade your house. And like player housing is one of the coolest things that I think was in Dark Age.
Yeah.
Besides the PvP, but I don't know. I
One
agree with you. Like
WildStar's gonna have player housing.
Yeah, I'm kind of after Comic-Con, after the WildStar panel there, I'm a little bit less hyped about that game, but I'm sure it'll build back up.
Okay. All right. Anyway, we added 3.5 bit 3.5 in there somehow.
I could talk about MMOs.
I feel like I could talk about Ultima. Maybe one of these days, like we'll just have we'll be like everything this week sucks. We're just gonna talk about MMO times and have people call in and tell their favorite stories. Like, dude, I love MMO stories because
nostalgia.
The most ridiculous shit and like all the stories. Yes, we're going to do that, JP.
That's a great plan, dude.
We're going to do it.
I can tell the stories of how I raided fucking weddings in the frontier of Dark Age of Camelot.
Yeah.
And slaughtered the entire fucking wedding party because I played on a roleplay server, and it was the most fun I've ever had.
I definitely being a total mischievous, evil asshole in MMOs are certainly some of my favorite type. But we will do that. We will do that. With that, we'll jump into bit 4. Which is the Xbox One reputation system. It was also announced that Xbox One enforcement is coming out. So for those of you that don't know what this is, first and foremost, if you're familiar with Riot's tribunal system, where they sort of have the community act as a tribunal that says yes, no, sort of, and then it compiles this data and it makes decisions based off this data, and sometimes it gets escalated to other things. So Microsoft is going to do something somewhat similar. Right now, the just released this enforcement feature seems to be a little bit more simplified. Things like, is this name okay, that got reported? Things like that. So the example that they even show right here, Sprinkle Bear. Is this offensive or is this not offensive?
Yeah, that's offensive. That's a shitty name.
Yeah,
dude.
It's like it's obviously a bear who's taking a piss on someone, like offensive.
That's what it's going to come down to. It's going to become trolling that, right? That's where the trolls are going to go, is they're going to report fucking Fluffy Kitty 47.
Right, and then have enough people get that. Yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah. So,
I don't know.
okay. Well, this is it. That's kind of interesting. Sprinkleberry, you're screwed. But then like the reputation system overall, and this is funny because one day my kid told me, I wish there was an internet for bad people, where all the bad people had to just be together. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Mini Wheat, I love you, dude. Like that is, first off, that's a great idea, and I wish that we could do it. And that's sort of what Microsoft wants to achieve. A concept where if you are an asshole and you are reported as an asshole and continuously reported as an asshole, you get put into asshole world. And inside of asshole world, you get to coexist with all of the other assholes that are dumped in there into asshole world.
Right. Right.
I'm kind of a fan of this idea.
Oh, I'm definitely a fan because they're starting to address the issue that I have with Xbox Live, right? And that is rampant assholery just everywhere. Fucking, and I used to be the asshole doing it, right? But now
Sure.
I've grown up. I want a little bit more of a mature crowd, and that's why I just stay off of Xbox Live. That's why I don't do anything on there. But I don't know how far they can go, right? Because one of the reasons why League of Legends, which I think is probably the most direct parallel to this with their tribunal system, one of the reasons that works is that you can actually take a look at what really happened in the game, right? All that I've seen from Microsoft, and you tell me because I think you read this article more than I did, you can't do it on a case-by-case basis, right? You can't report fucking whatever the name is for, I don't know, playing music loudly within a game which killed the entire chat of said lobby, right?
I
Can you
mean,
do that?
I think you could essentially report someone for anything. Like, I don't like the way this person sounds, but
Will
obviously,
that situation be like, will that come up then?
yeah.
In like
Like,
this
in fact,
weird
this Ars Technica talks a little bit about, that everyone sort of starts in a range that's 75 or so. And so you can obviously build this, but
Oh, okay.
part of the goal is to also be able to identify false positives.
Mm,
So like, yeah, if someone's like, this guy, maybe he didn't say something, or I don't know. There's obviously flaws with the system. Now, I do want
right.
to point out that like more this is less so for me, but like as a parent now growing up, it's also pretty important that for me, I can actually, because I imagine that there will be then like a system toggle that would say, hey, I only want this gamer tag to be able to play with people who have a reputation higher than this.
Right. That's smart. I mean, that's super smart.
And
And
so
to be honest, I would actually set
I
myself
would
at that
too.
as well.
I
Like,
would
I
too.
only want to play with the 90s. And if
So,
that adds 2 or 3 minutes to my search time for matchmaking, I'm fucking fine with that, dude. If I
yeah.
can like interact with people that will want to interact with me, and dude, the best like to go back to nostalgia and go back to MMOs, the best experiences I have ever had in a multiplayer world were in those MMOs where you had these. I was also a younger person, so maybe it was easier, and like the maturity level wasn't as high as I'd look for now. But finding like-minded individuals like that is awesome. It is. There is nothing that can be matched to that. No single player experience will ever be able to do that, and it's so impossibly hard to find to like make friends like that on Xbox Live because there's so much just nonsense that you have to
Yeah.
cut through. So
Yeah.
if it makes that situation easier, then that's awesome. Like that, for someone else to be able to experience that, then I am 100% for this, even
Yeah.
if it has its issues.
Yeah, it will be, of course, the first time that someone gets banned when they shouldn't have, and we've seen this happen, like just
Yeah.
in Xbox Live with the name system,
Right.
right? Like some guy who has a name, and then they had the whole thing, like you can't have, derogatory names, but then people who had legitimate names that may have been considered derogatory got those names taken away. Like, this crap is going to happen, and not until that happens are we going to know if this system actually works or not, or if the assholes just figure out a way to run the system and then it doesn't matter. Those are the two ways where I think this could be fucked up, but it's an interesting social experiment, and the results are something that I believe I'll find fascinating. We'll just have
Someone
to
brings
see.
up a really good point. What happens for like the niche multiplayer matchmaking? Like, what if there are no like 80% or higher playing these what was it? The Batman Origins multiplayer. Like, what if no one's playing that's under that rating, right?
Will that impede your ability to find multiplayer games? Again, and that's kind of like what we said, is that it's going to take a little time to find out if a system like this could work. Because on paper, it's like, oh my god, a great idea, guys, check it out. But in actuality, there's so many variables that could happen, and that doesn't mean shit until it's in the wild. So the Xbox One reputation system, we haven't heard anything necessarily where Sony doing this. I don't know if Nintendo has anything built in that regard.
Nintendo's still trying to figure out how to work the internet.
Yeah, they're
still like, all right, so we connect this dial-up modem to AOL,
and then we just identify people with like 30-letter random number strings. Like, that's how. So anyway, bit number 5. Spend a little bit of time on it. The Shield. The reviews have been coming out like crazy. Half PC, half console. I don't know, a controller with the screen, whatever the hell you want to call it. It's been sitting at about that 75%. Its entry into the gaming world is it has an average Xbox Live reputation. People say I've found use for it. Other people say I might have some difficulties finding use for it. I really kind of wanted to hear your thoughts on it, because I think upon first seeing the Shield, it's definitely something that piqued my interest. Is it still, is it something you're interested in? Have you read any of the reviews? What do you think about?
So the first thing, when you put this in here, I don't know why, the first thing that came to mind was the N-Gage. Do you remember the N-Gage?
Oh yeah.
I don't know why, but I just can't get behind stuff like this. And maybe that's just because I don't see the usefulness of it. I understand what it's doing, and I think it's cool. But at the end of the day, maybe it's because I don't leave my house enough to want something like this, that I need something like this where I'm just home all the time, so I have a full-fledged PC in front of me, right? But I don't know. I've got my DS. I enjoy my DS from when I travel, but I'm not a big handheld gaming guy. But it's kind of cool, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you ever own those devices where you're just like, I don't practically know, I don't know for what practical reasons I own this device, but God damn it, I feel kind of cool that I just own this device. There is kind of a little bit of that, because I like the fact that I've seen people run crazy amount of emulation on it. That instantly, boom, that's a selling point.
That's cool.
Another thing is that it
how much
does
is it,
kind
by the
of.
way?
I think it's $299, which comes in a lot better than I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be quite expensive. But it has, the ability to sync with your Steam library and do sort of like a cloud-based gaming experience, which I'm not sure I'm totally fully sold on, but I've seen it in action and it's pretty impressive. It's got Tegra built in. It obviously has the ability to do things like watch Twitch streams and stuff like that. So the emulation, as I mentioned, is really good. So any sort of like Android games are inherently something that work on that. So there's all these different reasons I could use it. But then I have to think about, in my everyday, what I do personally, how do I use it? And that's the part I can't figure out. Because I am, like you, I'm either right here or just kind of out and about, in which case my iPad kind of already serves the purpose of everything else. Yeah. But I'm usually like, well, I want to play BioShock Infinite now, right here in my hands. I don't normally say that. Normally I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I want to play BioShock Infinite sitting down with a mouse and keyboard in my hand and listening to my headphones and getting that good experience. So, yeah, I'm also, it's one of these things like, I want it, but do I need it?
Really? You want to purchase one of these?
I want to purchase it because this kind of shit is something that I just want to fuck with.
It's
Right?
novelty.
It
kind of
is,
novelty.
and maybe I'll find. Maybe it is that I dump a gazillion, emulated ROMs on there, and I'm just like, yeah, I've got fucking 10 generations in a small thing. Like maybe that's it, and I'll be happy about it. Maybe I will find, like I could see myself like that game like Sniper Elite.
Sure.
Maybe because you can like play a level in like 5 minutes or something. Maybe I would, but probably not.
Yeah, I don't.
Probably not.
I just. This is one of those things where it's just like, I'll never purchase one of these. I am not interested in something like this at all. But it's probably just because that's who I am. I'm that consumer that doesn't care about this stuff, right? I can see why people would be drawn to something like this, and I can see why people are interested in something like this. But for me, man, I got a DS.
And I think for many people it's the same thing. Now,
Right.
what we'll be watching for is how well will this do?
Right. That's the big question. And who knows? It might be a big sleeper, but it comes in $100 more than the 3DS, which is interesting. I don't know if it offers enough or more than the 3DS does. Does it? Like what can it run? Can it run like your Skypes? Can it run all of that shit? Or
yeah, I mean, technically anything that a Android device can do.
Okay.
These can. And I don't know if they have different. I was just going to check. I wanted to be sure if I was. Okay, so.
If they have different price points or SKUs or something.
Yes. And I don't think they do. I mean, I'm looking on Newegg right now and I see it's $2.99. It says, I guess it comes out like in a couple days.
Oh, no, they're out of stock. It's sold out.
Did it sell out or does it's out?
Yeah, it says out of stock.
I mean, okay, I wasn't sure if like people just had the review copies and then okay. Well, people bought it. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. For me it's not something that I'm super interested in, and it might be one of those things where I see it on a plane or see it someone has one somewhere where I'm like, "Oh, let me check that out." Maybe I get really turned on to it and pick up one, but it's highly doubtful. Highly doubtful. I look at that and I'm like, well, and I think a lot of people in chat are saying this, like, I could just buy a new PC component for that.
Yeah.
For that price.
That's the other thing.
Yeah, I mean, 300's a good chunk.
Yeah.
Good chunk. So.
All right, Nanobits, all the stuff that kind of fits in there.
There's a lot, man. God, there's so much
holy
news coming
shit!
up.
How in the hell are we gonna do this? All right, what are some of the quick ones that I could go?
I mean,
off this?
B is pretty quick. Microsoft
Okay.
announced prices the Xbox One accessories. The controller is going to be $60. How much were the original controllers for the Xbox? They were 40?
Jesus Christ, man!
Were they 40?
I don't know. Fuck that. No, I think a wired controller is 29. Even when they first came out. I could be wrong.
I looked at that and I thought that was a little bit pricey. They have all the other accessories as well. I think it's, yeah.
The
so
wireless
it's 20...
controller with the Playin Charge Kit is $75.
Yeah. So the Playin Charge Kit itself is $25.
You get one controller, right, when you buy the system.
Yeah.
So
Xbox
now your
One chat headset, which is wired, by the way, is $25.
And that's just one of the silly ones that plugs into your controller anyway, right?
Yeah, it's just, yeah, exactly.
Now, see, what I want to know is it the same fucking port? Is it the same plug-in? Because can I just use my 360 accessories?
I don't know.
Right? There's actually nothing different about this controller. Can I use my 360 accessories?
I don't know.
Wow.
It's kind of expensive, though,
I
to be
wonder.
honest.
I bet you those fuckers don't let you either.
Someone in the chat says old accessories don't work.
What? Dude, you know what?
Dude, that's
one.
hold on, that's changing console generations. We've been on. To me, I don't think
Hold
we
on
should be
a
able to
second.
use.
What the
I don't think
fuck
we
is
should be
different
using the
about
old controllers.
What is different? Are there any buttons that are not on my 360 controller that prevent me from playing any title on the 360?
Okay, maybe that's a good point.
There
I
are
don't think
zero
there is.
buttons. You
You know,
know, everything that is represented on my 360 controller could completely work. So, you know, in Nintendo's defense, half the shit I bought for the Wii, at least, actually
Right.
more than half, every little fucking nunchuck and little Wii Motion Plus bullshit that came with all that stuff, at least it moves over.
Did you ever buy an extra controller? Because I never really had to, but I don't have a full on. I don't have a kid and a waifu game as well. Like, did you buy extra accessories for your
for
360?
Wii or for 360?
No, for 360.
Oh yeah, I've got, you know, I mean, I've got like at
Okay.
least 2 working controllers. I've probably been through about 4 in the lifetime of a, you know.
I mean, for me, it's a non-factor because the system's going to come with a controller, and that's all I really need.
Now I want to know if the PS4 has backwards compatibility with their shit.
No, I don't think it does. But the PS4 controller is like completely fucking different.
Well, yeah,
It's
you're right.
it's a
You're
brand
right.
new
You're
controller.
right. That is
The other big thing too, which a lot of the FGC in the chat's talking about it. All your old joysticks, all your old sticks, they're
Fight
not going to work.
sticks? Oh,
They're all gone.
Oh my
They're all
God,
gone.
you're
None of them
killing
work.
me.
None of them work. Now that is a pretty big fuck you because those things are expensive.
But
Those are
like
like
a fight
$200
stick,
each.
so I'm even curious. Yeah, that shouldn't even matter. Fuck. Okay, interesting. All right. Well, I'm gonna be mad about that a little bit.
Yeah. Just more money, man. It's more money.
I mean, and kind of since we were talking about Nintendo a little bit, so Nintendo revealed dire Wii U sales, and these numbers are like, God. You know, we always said like eventually it's gonna happen. Nintendo's gonna release that dud. Like, can they?
Oh man.
You know, can they actually? And of course now the page won't load, but the numbers were bad. You know, much lower than where they were at with the Wii. The Wii has sold 100 million units. Like they're talking about.
That's crazy.
That's
man.
crazy. They're talking
That's like
about like
PS2
yeah.
install base almost.
I think 3.4 million Wii U units have been sold, and like, do you look at that number and go, "We're almost there, guys. We'll make it. We'll reach Wii." No, like there's that's not happening.
The big number is the Wii U sold just 160,000 units globally between the beginning of April and the end of June. That's less than half the 3,900,000 units that it managed to sell in the final 3 months of its last financial year.
Yeah.
Software figures were not much better, 1.03 million total for the quarter. Total Wii U sales now stand at 3.61 million.
Oh, they still sold more Wiis
Oh yeah, yeah.
than they sold.
The Wii, meanwhile, sold 210,000 in the same period with 3.6 million games sold. It's just nudged over 100 million lifetime sales.
That's actually crazy.
And then look at the 3DS. The 3DS is like, fuck off, we got 1.4 million units sold and an impressive 11.4 million games sold.
Yep.
That is crazy.
And you know that Animal Crossing had a lot to do with
Oh,
that
that's
and
why
just wait until Pokemon X and Y comes out, like
yeah.
the rocket ship takes off, dude.
It sold Animal Crossing sold already 3 million units in Japan, and it sold another 1.6 million rounded up in the West up to June 30th.
Dude, won't you be happy when fucking Pokemon X and Y comes out and they're like, look, Nintendo Triple XL, and it's like this big, and you're like, oh my God, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Like I was saying at the start of the show, finally this Sunday I have a reason to play the Wii U, and that is of course Pikmin 3. And the hype is not that high for it. It's more just like, hey, I have a game to play. It's not like, oh my God, I can't wait till, oh my God, Sunday's gonna be awesome. I'm gonna wake up at 9 a.m. and go pick up the new Pikmin 3. It's like, oh yeah, I guess I could play Pikmin 3. Like I should probably play that, right? It's supposed to be, it's getting pretty good reviews. Like no hype whatsoever. No. But it looks kind of cool. I'll probably hype myself up for it though for the course of the next 2 days. But man, Man. That's I was surprised, but those are low fucking numbers for the Wii U.
Yep, they are low numbers.
And they're only gonna get worse going into the fucking into fall.
Yeah, because the new consoles
that.
are going to be out too. So,
Yeah.
shifting gears just a little bit, we've talked about XCOM Enemy Unknown. The full game came to tablets. They charged $20 for it. And when we talked about this segment last time during Who Needs Buttons, we said this is kind of cool because it's a test. And even they acknowledged that this is a test to find out, can these AAA games not only be ported, but if people buy them for $20, will people buy them for $20? And is it a sustainable business? Ding, ding. The success of XCOM Enemy Unknown is telling Take-Two that, yes, we should be doing this like crazy because even their numbers sort of blew them away. In fact,
Right.
I was told that numbers were so good that that's why it went on sale so quickly. That they were just
Wow.
they exceeded their expectations and were like, almost as, as a thanks, we're going to, because it did stir up the pot a little bit. Like, it was just $20. Now you're selling it for, X amount. And now it is, I think, $15 all times. But the point being is that they did it. They were profitable, still releasing a $20 game on a AAA title. People really liked it. It's still sitting at high ratings. And this is like a big victory for sort of mobile tablet gaming. Yeah. And also, I think for these publishing companies, because I want them to be able to take a game and put it on more than one platform, because it means that they're going to be more successful with various titles. And,
yeah, good for them.
Yeah,
good for them.
Yeah, good on you. Good on you.
I would be more interested if it was a new IP. I think. Like, I think that might be why it sold so well, is because people know what XCOM is. They know how good that game was on like consoles and on the PC. That, of course, if it's a direct port, it's going to be a good game on the iPad, right? And of course, that everyone that played that game is probably of a mature level that they can justify spending $20 on something like that, right? On a mobile platform. So I'm surprised that it's doing that well, I guess, because that was the big question, is like, is this priced correctly? But I want to see a new IP do it for that much, and then I'll finally be convinced. I think is probably the best way. Best way to talk about that. By the way, to just loop back to the Wii, the Wii stuff, I thought this was hilarious. Did you see the Target ad where this weekend, if you buy a Wii U, you get a $50 or $60 gift card for the at Target to like purchase a new game?
Yeah.
But in the actual insert, instead of being a Wii U, it's a black Wii that's tipped over, that's like tilted.
Oh my god.
They don't even have the right fucking system. It's like, buy a Wii U. It has a Wii U game on it, but it's got the Wii on it. It's like, good job, Nintendo.
Yeah,
like,
way to go.
Your
you guys,
own,
you
your
nailed
own
that
retailers don't even know what the fuck your system is.
Tomb Raider sequel has been confirmed.
That's awesome.
For next gen.
Next gen.
Yes.
I'm in.
Yes, I'm in.
I love the original one.
That's
or
all,
not the original, but the most
the
recent
retelling.
One.
Yes, the reboot, and it's
awesome.
quote well into development as well. So
great.
I'm in.
That's good to hear. Yeah.
I'm in.
If they can make that game look, hell, if the next one even looks anywhere near like what the newest one does, even if it doesn't look too next gen, like, I thought that game looked fantastic.
Well, the big thing, obviously, that the hair tessellation and all the stuff that was done. It's exciting because they've only revealed like a really minor amount about the about the plot lines. But like Laura she actually gets like trapped. She's on this like island for a long time, and it's sort of like
I beat it.
No, I'm talking about the next one.
The next one.
Right,
okay.
right. So it's like a different island, whatever. The big deal about it is that like now they are tessellating all of her pubic hair as well. So since it's grown like so long, it's gonna be great. Like we
awesome.
can't. Yeah, everyone can't wait for that. Sorry, that was a long build up for.
I can't wait for the new patches for the next one on PC. It'll be fantastic.
So, oh my God, one of my favorite games of all time, JP, like on a top 5 list.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a game that was made by EA, and it's called Wasteland. And
I never played it.
it was a role
Confession.
playing game, and the game was goddamn fucking amazing. Like I don't know really what else to say other than the game is was absolutely amazing. I don't even know. I don't even know if I could like go into reason why it was amazing. It was just like an awesome story, post-apocalyptic world, totally crazy, skill-based. It had a little bit of that Ultima Online like use base because the more you used your skills, the better you got at them. And
Yeah, yeah.
so a Kickstarter went up for Wasteland 2, and sort of the first stuff is coming out about it. And I mean, I just cannot get more excited about this
That game's
game.
close to coming out, isn't it?
Yes, I think it's close, and I'm seeing stuff like this, and I am freaking out because, God damn it, this game was so good, and I don't know exactly how the gameplay is going to work overall, but um, holy shit! Like
Well, the game actually looks better than I thought it was going to,
oh
in
man,
terms of just like the aesthetics and everything.
I'm so excited, JP.
That looks
Fuck.
good.
Yeah, and apparently the guy that went is like a big fan and just said it was amazing to me how much stuff was in there from the first game that wasn't just in there to fulfill that nostalgic feeling. Like everything
Hmm.
is still has a reason for being in there. So
Interesting.
it was a great game, and even to this day, I think it holds up quite a bit. But
Yeah, I'll definitely. That's on my radar now. After I just looked at those quick screenshots, like that looks
yes,
cool.
it should be noted that Fallout was a spiritual successor sequel to Wasteland. Like like it's
Right.
that
It kind of started
feeling.
that whole
Yes,
thing.
it definitely did. I mean,
Right.
the graphics, and maybe I can just bring up like Wasteland EA. I would love to be
I'm
able to
sure you
just
can.
show what the original. Oh yeah, here's a YouTube video that has. Oh my God, I'm
Nostalgia
freaking
trip.
out.
Nostalgia trip.
It's just when you see, oh wow, it doesn't even go higher than 240p. I love it. Those are the best kinds.
That's
So,
great.
yeah, this is just so you could kind of see, like, this is how simple it was. So, you were talking about description.
Oh man, you were
Yes,
kidding.
yes, I'm not
This is
kidding.
dossified right here.
Oh, for real. Yeah, but oh my God, like, let me see if I can go forward. They have some more. So here's combat. Like this is your four guys, and then you actually
Oh
sat
Jesus.
there and you did attack, and
I feel like I'm playing
this
Drug Lord
this
again
right
in fucking
here,
school.
this is some intense graphical shit right here. This is some EGA. I don't even think this is VGA, man. That's some EGA shit going on. And then is this
Nice.
whole thing just a battle? I want to show some more of the what? Okay, wait. Here's yeah. Anyway, all right,
That's crazy.
all right.
That's an old school game right there.
It was amazing.
I feel like I definitely did miss out, but I did not play a lot of these games. But someone brought up a good point. Like Kickstarter is working, man. It's we've got games coming out that were kickstarted. That's a little bit crazy. Like
Yep.
here was the thing that everyone's just like, what? What the fuck is going? They raised 15 million.
I
Like
know,
what?
I know.
How does that work?
It's
And now it's
totally
like, and
ridiculous.
here, okay, you guys paid for this. Here's this game, and it's like, well, shit, this is actually kind of good. They kind of delivered on their promises. Like, good. I'm
Good
glad to
on
see
them.
that. I'm glad to see that. It's cool that that's a thing. I'm glad that that's a thing. And I'll probably check out Wasteland 2 now because of that. What were some of the reason? I think a lot of people wanted this to be a full bit, and that's of course the Dragon's Crown
All
dog
right.
the Dragon's Crown drama. But at the end of the day, here's my take on it. It's a fucking review. It's someone's opinion. And there are a billion of them out there. I'm not saying what she said is wrong in any fucking way, shape, or form. Of course, I'm referencing let me just kind of jump back. Polygon did a review of Dragon's Crown, and the game got generally good scores, 8s, 9s, across the board. Polygon ended up giving it a 6. They had a female reviewer who had an issue with the art style in the game because, let's face it, there's basically really crazy-looking characters in the game. And She had a little bit to say about
I don't know what you're
that.
talking about, but yeah.
And there were opinions had, guys. Opinions were made in this thing in a review, which is very opinion based. But in the review, she also said what the game was, and she said it was actually fun, and that the parts of the game that are in the actual game are good, and that it does good stuff. And she explained it all fucking like a review should. That's
Then
it.
she still gave it 60.
Yeah, and she gave it a
See,
6.
here's my thought on that. Like, right, like.
And it was probably based on the art style.
That would be
that
would be the equivalent, in my opinion, of me going, you know what? This game, it does a lot right. In fact, it does a lot right that other games don't do. But guess what? This fucking game is stealth, so I give it a 5.
Sure.
Like,
right?
I feel like a proper way of doing a review like this would be someone else review it who's not going to necessarily want to dock a score because of their personal feelings towards some aspect, whether it is the objectification and representation of woman or whether it is because it's a fucking stealth game. And so then I think having her having her side or opinion or thoughts on it as it relates to how she feels when she plays the games is still very valid and legitimate, but it's not necessarily fair to judge a game and overall its enjoyment or whether or not other people will enjoy it off of your personal opinion. Because like even when I talk about stealth games, I'm like, by the way, I fucking hate stealth games. Like before I say, I'm like putting this disclaimer out there, and at least people know where I have a hard time with that side of it. I don't agree with that.
I mean, there was definitely a conscious decision made for her to review that game, and whatever that was, we'll probably never know. Maybe it's just that's whose lap it fell into that week, that everyone else that could review that was just too tied up or too busy with something else or on assignment, blah, 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 blah. There's a billion different reasons, but I'm kind of on the side like, look, reviews are opinions. No one would actually have an issue with this if there was not a number attached to it.
Exactly.
If there were no numbers attached to that review and she just gave her opinion,
I
honestly think game reviews they have numbers attached to them, are just fucking stupid.
Yeah,
they are utterly retarded, and they serve nothing but a Metacritic score that can then go back to the publisher and everyone can get bonuses.
In the last year, even in the last 3 years, how many games have you bought or not bought because you read someone's review? The days of that are fucking over, man. Like, there might be a few very, like, weird cases and examples, but I guarantee you that, a game like this, it is everyone else in the gaming community who I want to hear from. I might look at a Metacritic, I might go, but I probably make my decision faster by going into a Twitch channel that's streaming it and watching some people, or watching people talk about it in the chat. Like, I don't even think that game reviews have much relevance in this world anymore.
See,
and
here is the perfect example. In our chat right now, a whole slew of people just posted rock paper shotgun for the win. I like to watch TV's WTF is. I don't read reviews. I watch first impressions.
Exactly.
Reading a video, no. Watching videos all the time. Like, there are 1,000,000,001 different ways to look at games from every angle before they're even out to see if you want to purchase them. Like, review scores are just so fucking ridiculous, and they serve purposes, and they come down to kind of, like I said, they come down to bonuses for that different production house, blah, 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 blah. Like, Metacritic is probably the number one reason for it, and Metacritic serves all of the people that write the reviews because then it's put into Metacritic, which probably gets more reviews combined than all of these websites, and then from there they get to go to read the reviews, blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand the process, but it's, at the end of the day, guys, like, I can't believe something like this. I really think that everyone is just at this fever pitch of emotions because the new consoles are coming out, so they fucking just jump on whatever's, like, being talked about and give an opinion that's probably going to be that 1% opinion that no one wants to hear. And that's all I got to say about that. Like, I will be buying Dragon's Crown. just because it looks cool. I like the idea. I'm a loot whore, so
You
I'm very
are
interested in that.
Luthor. All right. Let's do real quick. I think that's it for
Is that everything?
Nanobits.
There was Titan unlikely to have a sub fee. That was the last Nanobit I think we
Oh.
skipped over. Titan Blizzard's new MMO thing that they aren't really sure because they just restructured everything to kind of go back and look at it. They've come out and said that it's, quote, unlikely to have a sub fee, which is pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. So they're kind of looking at the landscape, I guess, and making adjustments for it.
I think they have to.
I think they have to too, yeah.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
All right, cool. Real quick on who needs buttons. We talked about the Shadowrun. Shadowrun Returns has been delayed another week or so. They just wanted to polish it. I think it also has to do with Apple's approval process, so not too surprised about that. But it is coming, which is good. This crazy kind of weird Capcom Street Fighter card battling game is going to be coming out in Japan, which makes me a little sad because it looks cool enough that I would at least download it and try it out. Yeah, I don't know. It's just...
Whoa, that's a lot of info on the screen. What is going on in that card game?
Well, I think so. I think these are the cards you can play, and
So the cards are like the different moves, and that's kind of
yes,
interesting.
yes.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Anyway, I don't think we'll ever see it, so it makes me fucking sad. But we'll see.
Maybe.
And then I guess there hasn't really been all that much. The coolest game that I got, my app of the week, is actually I'm gonna have to open up and tell you real quick. It's not so much a game, but there is Doodlecast.
Doodlecast.
Doodlecast is my app of the week. So Doodlecast is made for like 2 to 6-year-olds. But the concept is that you draw on the piece of paper and it's recording you the entire time that you're drawing.
Nice.
So, I was having fun yesterday where I was like drawing with Minnie and he didn't even know it was recording, right? So then afterwards we like watched back the drawing, which is hilarious because of the things that you'd said and stuff. That's all I got this week. Everything else is like kind of garbage, JP. The Drowning I grabbed, but I haven't played it yet, so.
So I forgot to tell you this. Last week, my iPhone accidentally ended up in the toilet.
Oh no!
And I had to go buy a new iPhone after I thought I was gonna wait till 5S until it was announced in like September, and then like after a week I was just like, I need a phone. I can't take it anymore. So I went and bought an iPhone 5, and I don't regret it really. I don't care too much about the 5S. At least that's what I'm going to keep telling myself, so don't talk me over to how I bought the wrong thing, et cetera, et cetera. But because of like the extra power in that, I've played a little bit more of the mobile gamings. I've ended up playing more of the now I can't remember the name of the game.
Don't say Puzzles and Dragons, dude.
No, man, what? The MMO Chaos Rising? Is that it?
What? Order and Chaos?
Order and Chaos, yeah.
You play the WoW version.
Yeah.
Oh.
I got the first quest done.
Finally, yeah.
And it's probably because it ran better. But yeah, I want to play more games now that I kind of have. I almost want to go get a new iPad as well, but I should probably wait till iPad 4 comes out. But anyways, maybe I'm getting more into mobile gaming is what I'm saying.
All right. That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I don't know if it is.
I guess one other notable thing is that this week's Apple free app is the Bad Piggies, which is the one where you engineer vehicles. It's an Angry Birds game. It's by Rovio, but you play as the piggies, and then you like make vehicles, and then the vehicle you have to like do different shit. It's free, so everyone should download it anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah, because if it's free and you get it, then you just have it for life. So
Sure.
all right, we have like 10 minutes left. Do we want to try to throw the phones for a couple minutes and see what happens here? Okay.
Yeah, do the phones. One thing we'll just run back to this.
We interrupt this 8-bit episode to warn viewers of potential BioShock Infinite spoilers ahead. You may unmute once the video warning disappears from the screen. Thank you and sorry.
Did you know that the BioShock DLC was announced? Did you catch that while you were gone?
One came out, right? One's
out.
out.
Already out, but they also announced the story stuff called Burial at Sea. Did you hear about that and watch the trailer?
No.
So they're going back to Rapture, Wheat, and you are going to be playing as Elizabeth and Booker and DeWitt in Rapture.
Wait, Booker DeWitt in Rapture?
Yeah.
Where does it fall in that timeline, though?
It's another universe. So it is before everything happens in BioShock. It happens on New Year's Eve, apparently. And you walk up to Elizabeth, who is kind of in this noir
oh my God.
type outfit, and she says something like, I forgot what the line is, but it's almost as if she is going to be like a sexual interest of Booker, which is really fucking weird because it's your daughter.
Right.
But it looks cool, man. Like, they're doing stuff with that universe that's really, really interesting. Also, that was a big spoiler. I'm sorry to anyone. I did not preface that with a spoiler. But, man.
Interesting.
I'm going to catch a lot of shit for that.
Are you?
I'll have to put a spoiler tag up. Yeah, the game's like pretty.
I don't know. I thought everyone played it by now. All right, we got it. Let's take a call. We got area code 513 on the horn. Hello, welcome to 8-Bits. What's up?
Hey, I wanted to comment on the shield that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I don't know if I came in too late on this, but did you guys mention how you have to have a 650 graphics card or higher?
We did it. Now,
streaming?
wait, you had to do the streaming, right?
Oh.
Yeah, but that's like the whole appeal of it, right?
Well, you mean just to be able to like play the games from your PC to your Shield? I mean, that is one of the major selling points. Maybe not necessarily for me, but
I was gonna buy it until I found that out because I have a GTX 580 sitting in my computer. I mean, I dropped $500 on that last year. Why would I go out to upgrade and then spend another $300 just to stream to it? You know?
Right. So then,
did they say why? Like why you have to have a 650?
I think it's a huge killing point.
It
like
has
that alone
to.
kills it.
It has to because if I'm not mistaken, it still runs on your graphics hardware, but then it renders to your Shield. So by doing that, it's still achieving the graphical fidelity of your graphics card and then delivering it to you, that way. Now, not to say that that's necessarily right, but I'm guessing that, if the other cards just aren't powerful enough. But you make a great point. Like, you're dropping the $300 and then potentially, you're not just, there's no easy way for you to upgrade from the 580 to the 680 or whatever.
Right.
And that's what sucks. You got to buy a whole new card. So that is
I
one
don't really know how like the hardware works, but I was hoping by the time they released it that I was hoping like while they delayed it and everything that they would put some more effort into the firmware development to upgrade those older cards. Maybe if there was some extra power that they could tap into, then I could see it blowing up. But just because of that, I don't think it's going to launch because you're asking everyone to upgrade if they want that main feature that you made the device for.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Quick Shot in the chat does say the card has to have the H.264 coder on it, or encoder on it. So that was, I think, like the 650 was the first one where it was basically plopped on the card. Doesn't necessarily make right, but it's probably a good thing to just everyone should know if they're looking into it.
I'm going to leave you with this thought: is maybe they should have waited a year or two to release this when everyone has moved on, upgraded, Because to release at the same time, 600 series came out like when middle of last year or so.
Yeah,
they are kind of pushing those cards out really quick. I never understood why they don't
maybe if
release.
you wait a little bit and then release your flagship console, your first flagship console, when everyone has maybe caught up, that would be a better idea. But by the time everyone upgrades, like what's going to be next after the Shield? You know what I mean?
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So that's all I wanted to say.
All right.
All right. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you for calling.
All right. Bye-bye. You could hear him okay, right, JP?
Oh, yeah, I could hear him.
I just had this feeling like maybe he wasn't hearing you, but I don't know why that would be.
Oh, it might have been. It might have been that he wasn't hearing me. I'm not sure.
The next person, I'll have to.
We'll see. I've never understood him. It's probably because there's no like Apple store, but NVIDIA should really start offering like an upgrade program. Like, trade in your Series 500 card and you get $100 off on your Series 600 card. Like, holy shit, can you talk about how many yearly upgrades people would get for that? Like, for me, that's why I still have, like, 3 570s running in dual
Right.
SLI on PC, because it's like, do I want to spend $500 on a fucking 780 that in 6 months or a year from now, the fucking 800 series is going to be out? Like,
Yeah.
they should introduce an upgrade program or a trade-in program.
It would be pretty nice
I wish they would do that.
to have that. All right. Well, why don't we do rap, because that EverQuest Next stream is going to.
It's almost live yet, dude. The chat's already crazy. Chat is actually insane on that right now.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, but it's not like live yet. That's why it's impressive to me, is that the Twitch chat is like faster. It's like League of Legends LCS style chat right now, where it's going complete bananas.
I'm gonna have.
And the stream's not even live. So.
Oh my god.
Yeah, we can wrap.
I wonder
We
how
can
many
wrap.
people are gonna be watching.
I don't know. I'd be surprised if it breaks 100,000, but maybe I wouldn't be surprised. It's gonna be cool though. I'm really excited for it. You want to do shoutouts?
Yeah.
All right. So what do I always suck at shoutouts. Watch roleplay on Sunday. New D&D roleplay is going to be at the same time, 8 o'clock. I will probably stream Pikmin 3. I would think Monday would probably be more likely. I'll definitely go pick it up Sunday, though. I don't know if I'm going to stream before roleplay. Then this week on Tuesday, I'll be picking up... I need a JRPG to tide me over, so I'm going to be picking up Tales of Xillia, which is another Tales game for the PS3. Be streaming that for sure. Dragon's Crown. Do you want to play some Dragon's Crown? Do you plan on picking that up?
It's multiplayer. Like I guess I just
Oh
don't
yeah,
know enough about.
and you can play.
the
You
game.
can
All I
cross-play
know is that I've been
Vita.
looking at the ads of that chick's thick ass thighs and big old booty for like 3 months, but I still don't think
Yeah.
I know what the hell the frickin'.
You can
thing
buy
is
it
all
on the
about.
Vita, and we can cross-play. If you want to do that.
Wait. So you're gonna play it on the PS3, and you
Yeah.
just want me to play it on the Vita?
No, I'm just saying if you wanted to. I don't. If that was an option.
What do you? What to be like? I'll play on the super awesome like PS3 where I can enjoy. You know,
You can save $10, sweet.
you play it on the
Save
Vita.
$10. Exactly.
You can only play it on the toilet.
What else do I have?
Oh, someone says Dragon Crown's not crossplay.
Oh, it's not cross-play?
Wow,
I
you're
thought it
even
was.
more trying to fuck me, JP. Gee.
I thought it was cross-play. Well, shit, son.
You could transfer save.
Oh, well, shit. Why the fuck would anyone buy the fucking Vita version of that for $50 or $40, however much it is? Anyways, I'll be playing that probably sometime this week. Other than that, just itme weekly, youtube.com/itmeJP. I'll be posting this VOD up. It'll also be up for subscribers right after the show goes offline. But no one's going to watch anyways. Just go watch the EverQuest Next thing. At least right after the show goes off. But other than that, I think I'm good. If you want to see me stream, I'm over at twitch.tv/itmeJP. And yeah, that's all I got, man.
Awesome. I don't have that much either. I mean, God, it feels good to be home and sitting at my computer again. And I was gone for a week, so no shows, and I didn't really stream this past weekend. I'm going to be doing my normal streaming this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to try to finish all the Antechamber uploads, so that's done, and probably keep playing Sniper Elite just for shits and giggles. That's over on youtube.com/djWHEAT. On Sunday, I don't like when I went to MLG, JP. I like got I got one of those MLG mice pads, and I mice pads. Jesus Christ!
The one with the splattered paint everywhere.
It was actually the blue, red, and you know the mouse, the giant mouse, or
yeah.
the one that's like red, white.
Oh,
blue.
okay. See, I've got the giant splatter.
Yeah, I've got that one as well. I've got that one as well. But so I had all these people sign it, and I put it down, and someone actually stole it from me when I was like shaking hands and signing what you.
Oh no.
Yeah, someone stole. So I went to I was at the Red Bull event, and I had I was fucking so pissed that I had 3 mouse pads.
Nice.
signed. So even if one got stolen, I would have 2 left. So I'm going to be giving those away on Sunday and for subscriber giveaways and shit.
Nice.
Other than that, family vacation next weekend. So JP and I will keep you updated on exactly what's going on with the next episode of 8-Bits. But as we get out of summer, expect to see some consistency. And I look forward to that. Thank you to Ziner with the designer for all the new graphics and stuff. Really
thank you
appreciate
to
it.
Daniel.
Yeah.
We'll still be working on it. It's still kind of a work in progress. That's how this stuff works. You mess around with the show, and then you figure out that you need some stuff changed, added, subtracted, etc.,
Yes.
etc.
So guys, that's it. EverQuest Next is about to begin. The apocalypse on Twitch
Stream
starts
just went
now.
live.
Oh my God!
There's already 10,000 people watching right when it boots.
It's
I
about
don't
to
think
get
it's loaded
crazy.
everywhere.
It's about to get crazy.
I'm excited.
Oh my God, I can't wait. Everyone, thank you for tuning in to 8-Bits versus 0.6. We'll see you next time with another episode. We're out of here. Peace.